So, what I wanted to talk about today was the pros and cons of living in low income housing. Now, I personally think living in low income housing, if you're low income, is a good decision. If you're a mother right now, I really think that it would it can really help out. Let me explain why. So I didn't know about low income housing until maybe like my second kid. And if I knew about low income housing when I was in college, so when I went to college, I found out I was pregnant 5 days after I moved into my dorm. And I was saving money and stressing that whole year about having to figure out where I was going to go. And actually, MSU and a lot of colleges have family housing and resources, but I was scared to have my first baby in Lansing. I wanted to be at home. So I did online classes and I worked 2 jobs and I had a regular, at first I had a house and then an apartment because the house is like a crazy situation. Basically, I was stressing about bills. I was working 2 jobs while going to school full time and being a first time mom. Had I knew about low income housing when I was in college and pregnant with my first son, I could have applied then, and I could have came home to a steady environment. Sorry, I'm trying to say it right. And I wouldn't have literally been killing myself to try to provide, pay bills, pay a car note. When I first had my baby, they was trying to get me to pay $800 to $900 to $600 a month on top of all these other bills that I have, on top of the fact that I'm a full-time student and a first-time mom, because I was young, but I was living in the suburbs. If I would have knew better, I would have never left Detroit, not being able to afford insurance. I never didn't know no fucking better, y'all. I just was out here figuring it out. So I ended up failing my entire semester. I worked so hard. I failed. I lost my scholarship. It was awful. So this is why I feel like maybe, hopefully, if there are some moms out there and you're struggling financially, you do recognize that you are low income, I would strongly suggest looking into low income housing. Now, there are pros and cons. The biggest thing that I would say is location. Really and genuinely. The biggest con to low income housing for me is where I chose. I absolutely hate it. However, I was homeless for, what was it, like 2 or 3 years with my first 2 babies, all because of my first apartment, because of the apartment. And the funniest thing is, it was a $500 carpet cleaning fee on my name that hunted me for years. I literally couldn't get an apartment for years because of that. You can go on my YouTube video and see the video of us of the unit being carpet clean, and they still charged me $500 for carpet cleaning, and that kept me from getting an apartment for fucking years. But yeah, other than that, definitely location. If you guys want, I can tell you, I do know a few places that are way better than where I am. The pros, though, because there are pros to living in low income housing, and those are what matter. I have been able to do more here for myself in 3 years than I think I would have ever been able to do for myself, because I've never had this kind of stability even as a kid. When I was able to let go of that fear, I was able to start creating a plan to make things better. So low income housing is a stepping stone, and use it as a stepping stone, genuinely. I've been able to build my credit here. I was not able to do that anywhere else. Even though I had a lot of issues, like you're still gonna run into problems. A lot of my problems are what caused a few different delays in some of the issues that and some of the goals that I've accomplished. But for the most part, y'all, I'm really close to completing all of the goals that I needed to complete here. So even though I hate it, and I'm going through some really, really embarrassing issues here, I still have to look at the bigger picture and what my goal was. So I built my credit here. My credit was absolutely terrible. Now it's doable. I did have the credit and my career, but I kind of paused the career to take a leap for a different career, and I would have never been able to do that if I didn't have that felt like I was secure enough to make that decision. I would have never been able to do that. I was able to own 2 cars and no payments. It's a lot easier for me to get insurance now. Would have never been able to do that anywhere else. I was able to attempt to further my education twice. I'm still going to try to. My goal is to be here no longer than 4 years. So by God's grace, I can be out by next year, because now literally the only thing, my last 2 steps to my goal, the last 2 things that I want to do now is get my income up together, because I've spent a lot of my money towards getting to this point. Get my income up again with the credit. I still got some more debt to pay off too. So pay off some more debt and then buy a house. And it is completely doable no matter the circumstances, y'all. It can be really hard, and it's going to be hard. However, I think that where you go really makes all of the difference. Like, tell me if I'm wrong. I was raised in the hood as a kid. I didn't realize I never lived in the projects. Now, being in the projects as an adult, oh baby, it's a difference. I prefer the hood over the projects. The projects literally feels like a project. It feels like some type of experimental fucked up project. It really does. This one specifically where I'm in, I don't think all places feel like that. And I have a friend who, she's bomb as fuck with resources too, and we can both come on here and just give y'all a list of resources for any moms out there who need it. See, if you're low income, you need to take advantage of every single resource available, because there are hella resources available and you can get a lot of free help while you're low income. And I would suggest every low income person really take advantage of what's available to you and use it as a stepping stone to, put yourself and your family in a better position. And that's what I'm working towards. Been here 3 years. I thought I was going to be able to do it a lot quicker than 3 years, but life happens. Don't get frustrated or embarrassed when life happens. I'm telling myself that as well, because sometimes it's really easy to be embarrassed about your situation, when in all actuality, there's no new situation under the sun. There's nothing new under the sun. Life is hard. Personally, and please get under here and spit resources, I think living in Detroit is more beneficial. I don't really think there are as many resources outside of Detroit as there are inside of Detroit for low income people. So I think that we just need to take care of home. Leaving Detroit honestly brought me a lot more bills and just issues than I feel like. Detroit shows grace. Detroit shows grace to low income people, whereas I feel like a lot of the suburban Detroit areas don't really show grace to low income people. Like, you have to definitely fit into that little bitty box, and they don't have no grace, and they don't have no give a fucks. Not all, but I feel like I've experienced that more this way than in Detroit. That's just my personal experience. That's all I wanted to talk about today. I really hope that this video helps somebody. And if you have any questions, feel 100% free to ask. If you like this video, please support, follow, like, subscribe, all those good things, and I will see y'all later.